Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central, the podcast where we break down mental health for teens and have open and real conversations. I'm your host Mia, and today we're tackling a topic that needs to be talked about way more: therapy. Specifically, why going to counseling and therapy isn't something to be ashamed of, but it's actually a major power move. Let's be real, there's a stigma around therapy in our age. People think it means you're quote-unquote broken or weak. But guess what? Seeking help isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And today we're going to be unpacking why therapy is one of the best things you can do for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, I want to talk about the biggest therapy myths. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that therapy is only for people with serious problems or stuff like that, but it's actually not. Therapy is literally for anyone. You don't have to wait until you're at rock bottom to seek help. It's almost better to seek help beforehand so you never have to hit rock bottom. Think of it like a gym for your brain. Prevention is just as important as healing. Next myth I've heard a lot is going to therapy means you're weak. Actually, admitting you need help and taking steps to improve your mental health is one of the strongest things that you can do for yourself. And it's honestly just kind of embarrassing when someone says that therapy means you're weak, because it's not true. It means that you are strong enough to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I am feeling like I'm hitting rock bottom, so can you help me? And the last one is talking to a friend is the same thing as a therapist. While friends are great for support, they're not 100% trained professionals. A therapist can actually help you untangle your thoughts, identify patterns, and give you tools to navigate life in a way a best friend can't 100% do. Although they can give you really good advice, it's obviously not like professional level help that you might actually need, depending on kind of what era of what thing you're going through. Like, some friends might be able to help you with certain things, but friends might not be able to help you with everything. Okay, so what's so great about therapy, and what are some of the key benefits? Therapy is really good for self-awareness and growth. Therapy will actually help you understand your life better and yourself better, and it can kind of help you understand why you do certain things and react in certain ways. Personally, whenever I go to my counselor, it's I know I'm learning more and more about myself. It's the unconscious and subconscious things that I do. And it's okay, I feel like I've had this habit my whole life. I don't feel like I can change it. But then they tell you oh, you can change it because this is why. This is, for example, the psychological reaction as to why you do something like this. And I can also just tell you what certain things do trigger you. So it's if you have panic attacks or anxiety attacks, it's what is in your life right now that could potentially be causing harm to you. And also it just helps you understand yourself better, and understanding yourself is actually the key to living and improving your life. Because if you think about it, we understand our friends and we know what they do and what they don't like, and if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's okay, I know what makes her or him or they or whatever happy. So it's I think you do deserve to have that for yourself as well, because I think sometimes we have the habit of just pushing ourselves to the back burner. At least for me, I have this really bad habit of not prioritizing myself and always putting other people first, and then I realize almost when it's too late that oh shit, oh my bad. Oh my god, I have to work on myself as well, and I think that's really important. I think that's something that people do have to kind of realize. Also, another benefit is it gives you coping skills, and obviously I think as teenagers we all know that life throws you so many curveballs, but therapy can give you the tools to handle all that stress and anxiety and emotions in a healthy way. It's instead of, for example, drinking or going to parties and just getting drunk or high, for example, instead you can learn okay, I can actually talk about my feelings to people, and people will actually understand me and stuff like that. Or just learning journaling really helps me reduce my anxiety or whatever, and that's great, and that's something that therapy can really help you with. And also it just helps build better relationships. Therapy isn't just about you, it also helps you communicate better and set boundaries and build strong relationships with others, because once you have a firm foundation for yourself, then every other relationship on top of that should be building so much easier, because you have a grasp of yourself, and you kind of especially when it comes to friendships, we've talked about this in the last episode, it's it's the quality of the friendship over the quantity. So once you know what you're really looking for, you can find good quality friends that fit with like kind of what you need and all that stuff. So now let's talk about how we can make therapy feel normal. So it's like, how can we normalize therapy in our current society where, as of right now, at least in the area I live, therapy is starting to gradually get more kind of like non-stigmatized as like for weird people. And like, even I have to admit that I used to think like back in elementary school that like people who went to therapy were probably like a little bit more high on the like a little bit more like they needed a lot more help. But I didn't realize that you can literally go to therapy at any stage in your life. You can go to therapy at the happiest moments of your life to potentially like elongate the happiest moments of your life, instead of having the potential of going kind of back down into an imbalance. So I think I've also learned a lot, and that just kind of shows that like, even though I'm like super interested in psychology, when I was in 5th grade I wasn't, right? It's like I've changed and I've grown, and definitely like talking to like my counselors have like really helped me, and it's like growing in myself. And also as I start to grow older, you just realize like not everybody's perfect. I used to think that like all the older people I look up to had like no problems. It's just because they don't talk about the problems. And I think that's like an important part, is that we should be openly discussing therapy, and that kind of lessens the power of the stigma of therapy. It's like, we don't have to talk about what we talk about in therapy, but we can be like more open about like, hey, I do attend therapy and like it's really helped me. And if you go to therapy, just like feel comfortable sharing, and like just sharing with other people. You don't have to, again, say everything you're talking about, but it helps other people maybe open up and realize like, oh, maybe I do need like help and I do need to go to therapy. And also, we should stop using the word therapy as an insult, saying things like, wow, they really need therapy. It just kind of puts like a negative connotation on the idea of therapy, and it just like it reinforces the idea that therapy is something bad, and saying like they need therapy sounds like, oh, they're so mentally ill that like their only option is therapy. So let's flip the script and just not kind of use therapy, or really any words in a sense, in a bad way that can like stigmatize them and make other people who are actually doing it like feel worse about themselves. Also, encourage others. Don't say like, oh my god, like you need therapy again. But it's like, if you do know someone that's struggling, maybe you can talk to them one-on-one and be like, hey, like I feel like, you know, you like, if you need someone to talk to, like a therapist would be a really good option. But don't ever push something on someone, because that will make them want to do it less. And let them know therapy is always an option, and it's totally okay to seek help. And maybe if you personally take therapy, you can be like, hey, like I take therapy myself and it's really helped me. Because usually people, when they hear someone else's story, it encourages them to do something more, because they're like, oh, someone I know and trust is doing this, maybe I should do it. And maybe, you know, you can even recommend a few therapists. Maybe wouldn't recommend the same therapist as you, but like if you go to a certain therapy office and there's a couple therapists there, maybe you can recommend that place. So at the end of the day, therapy is just a tool, and it's not a weakness. Going to therapy and talking to people should not be stigmatized as a negative thing, or that you have such a high mental disorder. Whether you're dealing with something specific or you just want to improve your mental health, counseling is, I personally feel, one of the best investments you can make in yourself. I have seen so much growth in my mental headspace, and just like how I deal with certain situations and traumas. It has grown so much since I was a freshman, and I really think that's all thanks to my counselors. And again, like, it's not a bad thing to go, and you should be more open about kind of what you're doing, and, you know, if you feel comfortable, obviously. So if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, follow, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need to hear this. We are now on all platforms, and you can follow us on Instagram at Teen Talk Central, where I try to post motivational quotes and just like reminders for people that may need it. If you guys are ever struggling or need someone to talk to, our DMs are always open. And until next time, take care of your mind, and don't be afraid to ask out for help if you need it.